Welcome to the Plurday Institute. My name is Dr. David Plurday. I'm a nutrition scientist and exercise scientist, and I'm the founder of the Plurday Institute, a world leader in science-based weight loss. Today, I have a special guest and friend. His name is Rob Roy. Rob, thanks so much for coming in today.
Thanks.
Pleasure to have you, man. Well, audience, you know this. The star and the hero of Plurday is not Dr. Plurday. In this case, Rob, it's you. Let me just brag about you. You are a college graduate from Clarkson College in upstate New York. You're married to your lovely wife, Ann. You've got 3 amazing kids. Connor, 21, who goes to University of Illinois, Chicago. Brendan is 18, he goes to Alabama. And Trinity is 17, and she's still in high school. You work in sales in the steel industry. You've been working in the steel industry with great success for over 22 years. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
So, audience, I want to just lead with this. You've done something extraordinary. You lost 63 pounds of fat in 3 months, and you gained 5 pounds of muscle. I'd like to pull up your upper body front shot. Unbelievable what you've accomplished. Now, I've done these videos for years. I never get tired of the story because this was an incredible transformation for you. I'd like to take a look at the upper body side shot. And here again, we see the incredible reduction in body fat weight of 63 pounds. We're going to look at the rear view. Muscular definition is increased in every square inch. We're going to take a look at your face shot and see the contrast, the facial definition, the definition of your facial features. It's truly extraordinary. Congratulations to you for everything that you've done. And I know that we talked about expectations. We did a half-day science-based weight loss assessment on August 20th of this year, 2022, 3 months ago. We measured you in a device called the bod pod. It's the standard in science differentiating the weight of all fat. At that point, you had 92.9 pounds of body fat, mostly in the abdominal cavity, and you had 149.5 pounds of lean tissue. We talked about expectations. I said that if you listened, if you followed the program, that you would expect to see about a 14% rate of fat loss per month. What's actually happened, and we're going to pull up the spreadsheet right now, is you lost 35% of your body fat weight in the first month. That was a 32.6 pound fat loss. And let's just unpackage that for a second. You lost more than almost 7 of these in the first month.
Wow. Crazy.
32.6 pounds of fat, almost 7 of these, 35% of your body fat. In the second month, we measured you again in the bod pod. You lost almost 17 pounds of fat, which was 27.7% of your fat weight. And just last week, 3 months into this program, you lost over 13.4 pounds of fat, which was a 31% reduction. It's absolutely mind-blowing. So again, I wanted to lead with that because I want our audience to know just how extraordinary your success is. And wow, so there it is. Can we talk a little bit about the pain that you felt before the program started? I know that when we first connected, it was in a phone intake, and we talked about pain in your life associated to your weight and your health. Can you share a little bit about the pain you were feeling before we started this process?
Sure. I was unhappy with my appearance, just looking in the mirror and then just sitting on an airplane seat, just seeing how big my stomach had gotten.
Yeah.
Some concern over basically, high blood pressure, cholesterol, high cholesterol, and,
Yep.
Just concerned about wanting to be around for my kids long term.
How is this getting in the way just at work, like, because you're in sales, right? And, was it affecting, your confidence or how you felt about yourself, in those areas?
No, it just, I mean, some low energy because you're lugging that weight around, right?
Exactly,
So,
right.
And your appearance. I mean, you're in sales. You're in front of people all the time. You don't want to look as bad as you looked in the mirror, right?
Totally, absolutely. Well, I just want to just pause and say thank you for being willing to sit down with me and talk about this, because I think that our audience and most people will relate more with our pain and our struggle than they will with our wins. And I think the essence of it is that we're not the only person struggling. So
Sure.
Thank you for being so willing to be open about such a sensitive subject. I'd like to pivot the conversation and talk about some of the learning points.
Sure.
For example, when we first sat down, I explained that you had a problem that you couldn't see. It was actually an enzyme suppression inside of your fat cells. And what I said was that when the fat cells are in suppression, can a person, have any substantial fat weight loss? And the answer is no, right? When the enzyme is in suppression, you can't exercise yourself out of that suppression. And we know that when there's an enzyme suppression, fat cells are getting larger, body fat weight's going up. When we first met, I expressed to you that it was going to take me a certain amount of time. Do you remember the time frame it would take for us to reverse that enzyme suppression?
3 days.
3 days. And what actually happened?
It reversed in 3 days.
Yeah, in 3 days. You came back within less than a week, and we measured your adipose tissue metabolism in our lab, and we in fact did reverse that enzyme suppression. And when that happens, audience, what that means is that fat cells are in a constant state of degradation of the storage fat called triglycerides. So what's happening is the fat cells are ripping the fatty acids off the glycerol molecule. Your fat cells are mobilizing what are called fatty acids, and we were off to the races. And in effect, I taught you about nutrition, but really I taught you about chemistry, things that you can't smell, right? Things that you can't taste, things that you can't detect, that you were ingesting in all directions, your foods, your fluids, but also over-the-counter medicines, pain relievers, antihistamines, mouthwash, things that you just didn't think about with their chemical compositions. And I shed light on this. You then implemented these changes, and what we saw was extraordinary. Again, mathematically linear fat loss at just around 30% fat weight per month. Pretty crazy. We talked about exercise science, right? We placed you in the Human Performance Laboratory on the first day. We measured your muscle metabolism. Rob, what did we learn about the types of exercise you did? Were the things that you were doing prior to the program, were they metabolically efficient? Were you utilizing fat in an efficient rate prior to the program?
No, was not. Couldn't lose weight no matter what I did for exercise.
Right. You could not exercise yourself out of that enzyme suppression. And in fact, what we learned is that when you would exercise the way you had in the past, your muscles essentially isolated the utilization of sugar, glucose, and by exhausting that glycogen, it perpetuated a hunger for what? Sugar. Yep. Sugar, starches, and junk foods,
right.
And you could never really break free of that pattern,
right.
as hard as you tried.
Yep.
But one day here in the half-day assessment, and then the onboarding that occurred the following week, I taught you precisely how to exercise. We isolated the utilization of fat. And was the exercise, and has the exercise been hard?
No. Exercise is it's not hard at all.
Would you say it's easy?
It's fairly easy, yes.
Rob, what would you say to the audience about your experience with how exercise was prescribed and fleshing it out? Has it been difficult?
No.
Did it trigger any food cravings for sugars, starches, or junk foods?
No.
No cravings?
No cravings.
What about overuse injuries? Are you sore after your workouts? Are you in pain? Is it hard in that respect?
No.
So the exercise was prescribed in a laboratory, science-based. It's been relatively easy, incredibly efficient. We're isolating the utilization of fat. Let's talk about the applied meal plan. Now, we have a chef here at the Plur Day Institute. What's it been like for you having a chef who is skilled implementing the prescribed regimen? What was it like for you in that aspect?
Right, that helped in the beginning. We did that for a couple of weeks, and it helped start off the program and get you in a pattern of eating the food you needed to eat to reverse that
suppression.
Yes.
And did it help that the food tasted good?
Yes. Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
I mean, we have things on plan like pizza, and we have all kinds of steak and breaded chicken tenders and dessert options,
right,
and things that you probably would not think you would find on a science-based weight loss program.
Sure.
But you did.
Yep.
And how did that affect your experience? Just knowing you had in a recipe library and all those things, how did that affect the doability factor?
Yeah, made it a lot easier, right? It's very easy to follow the plan.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it, Rob.
Sure.
What's it been like having a doctor hold you accountable, having sessions with a doctor every week, getting that daily text message, and just having that exchange of accountability and encouragement on a daily basis?
Yeah, it's good. It helps keep you on plan and makes you think, you've got to just stick to the plan.
Right.
Keep going.
Reinforces the process, right?
Yep.
Excellent. Rob, I'd like to talk about your health transformation. How has losing 63 pounds of fat from your internal abdominal cavity affected your blood pressure?
My blood pressure is down. I don't think I have to take medication anymore for my blood pressure or my cholesterol. Everything's way below where it was before.
So what we're seeing is that as your body fat has come down, it's reversing what we call a non-alcoholic fatty liver.
Yes.
That is an incredible part of your story, and it's in effect changing the trajectory of your health for the rest of your life. So congratulations to you for that. Rob, I'd like us to imagine right now there's a man or woman in the audience. They're hearing about the Plur Day method for the first time. They're hearing your incredible story of how your health is transformed. And they're exactly where you were 3 months ago. What would you say to him or her to encourage them to take the first step and call?
I would say, I was real resistant to going on a diet. I enjoyed my food, and I thought I was going to lose most of my weight by exercise or doing sports. But this is a really easy plan to follow, and the food is tasty. You can enjoy the food. So I think the method is just easy to do. The exercise is easy. So I think you just need to pick up the phone and do it.
Rob, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being so unselfish and courageous to share vulnerably about your struggle, but also to let people know about this program and how it's affected your life. I know it's going to inspire people, and so thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'd also like to thank you, our audience, for taking time out of your busy schedule to watch this conversation. I hope you found it to be very encouraging. And I'll leave you with this. You don't have to struggle anymore. I want to encourage you to pick up the phone and call 844-756-8733. We'd like to get you on the right road to better health, joy, and self-respect. Thank you so much for watching.